What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about this topic that I saw popped up on the Steem blockchain about if Steem has been life changing. And I want to talk a little bit about that in this video. Just because it's a little bit cold here, I'm gonna wear gloves. So let's see. It's kind of cold. It's January, and this country has around 8 months per year. That's pretty cold. So yeah, okay, so has Steem been life changing? For me personally, one thing that I think Steem has done is it's been life changing in a way I didn't think. And that is in the way of it makes you more intelligent, or I found it made me more intelligent in a way where a lot of the other habits that I did before, I can still do them, but they are less exciting. So a lot of internet platforms, for example, that looked impressive before, now I don't find them impressive at all. I mean, they are pretty lame. I see that they are not as exciting because you can see that you can measure value in other ways that is way better, and you realize that all these other platforms, Instagram and YouTube and even Twitter, they're super bad for the user. Like they're horrible, and and you realize how little the companies are actually giving to the consumer compared to something that actually has way more intelligent technology, like using Steem blockchain. It's really interesting also with Steem blockchain because you can see that people that are using it a lot, they are very passionate about it, and other people that are not maybe using it on a daily basis, they have a very different outlook on it, of course, because if you're not using it on a day-to-day basis, it is a little bit different. It is Steem is not like other social medias, I would say, because people that are like full-fledged Steemians, they involve themselves in a much, I would say, much deeper way than, for example, what you're doing on Twitter or on Instagram or on YouTube or on Facebook, where it's also generic and boring on those other platforms. And one big thing, for example, the Steem changed in my life in way I'm looking at things is, well, you realize that Steemians are onto you realize that Steemians are sort of I think many Steemians in many ways can see how technology is gonna transform a lot in how people are looking at life, and especially when it comes to, let's say, the job factor. So for example, me personally, the way I see how technology is moving forward so great or so rapid, I see that, well, we are moving into like an automation phase eventually here, and that means that I would say the Steemians are a bit more aware of that things are moving towards more, let's use that word, abundance, the word that has been so much corrupted. But what it really just means is, I mean, if all jobs, if it is all mechanical, so it's like a to B task, as long as work, our job is mechanical, as long as that is the case, then you can have a world where the government basically feeds the people. Um, and that is one of these concepts that I think that Steemians are a bit more aware of at the moment. When you come into the Steem ecosystem, you sort of realize that there is a lot of expanding borders of your ignorance that you have to do, because it's a every like communication tool that we are using, money, language, voice, sound, I mean, all of these things that we are using to communicate to each other, learning Steem language is kind of fascinating, to be honest, because there's a lot of things that you have to learn, and you realize that people outside of this ecosystem, they have a really hard time to understand. They have a really hard time to understand what it is. And even for a Steemian, I think it's very hard for them to be able to like articulate it. But one thing I sort of feel, so where one of the big problems with these with the other sorts of technologies that we have available, it's not really compatible to a world where people are moving around so much. So people are moving more around now, and so let's say a person comes to a new country. So for example, I stayed in another country for 2 years, or for almost 3 years, and what you realize is it's kind of complex. You have to do a lot of manual stuff. You have to set up a bank account, and you need to get an ID, and you have to do all these things. But you sort of realize with this new technology eventually that you can just have it so you Steem is really removing a lot of barriers, not just barriers for value transfers, but also it's also removing these weird barriers when it comes to like digital relationships, that how humans are connecting to each other, that you can do that in a way more personal way if you have something where people are sharing real value to other people. That makes it so people sort of relate to each other in a way more humanistic way. And even though it's super early, you can sort of see how it is going to transform how people are looking at, let's say, global relationships, where in these if you're using all these other technologies, they're way more exclusive, and they're way more focused on local relationships, local connections, and that really, I mean, all this local stuff, it's really hard. It's really hard to like convert it to better technology. It's really like you have to look at the deeper infrastructure. And what I also think is like you sort of see how all this technology and everything connects to how, on a larger scale, how human societies are operating and working. So I think, for example, that well, a lot of the things, a lot of the problems that people are seeing in the world, a lot of it is because the people don't really have access to something. And you see how there are very few technologies out there that seems to trying to connect humans in a way where you're not just connecting humans, but you're also connecting value. You're also connecting them with real value, uh, and uh, and making people be more caring, let's say. So Steam is kind of interesting in that regard, where there's really no other platform like it at the moment. Even so, it came to 2016. It's almost 4 years ago now, but I don't see any Steam competitor at the moment, or nothing even coming close to it. So there are very few platforms that is trying to do something like the Steam blockchain at the moment. So yeah, Steam is very interesting, and I think it gives a lot of people. I think it makes people maybe a little bit hopeful when they see that other people are supporting other people with real value, and it feels like other platforms mainly that it just always ends up in jealousy or vanity, or that it seems like Steam is trying to make people consider a little bit to use the internet in a way where they are working or like putting in an effort daily into trying to create like a better outcome. And yeah, I mean, it's very, very interesting. uh I'm not sure where Steam is going and so on, um but it is an interesting experience. Let's just say yeah, it is an experience, and it is an experiment also, I would say, how people are interacting with this kind of technology. So yeah, Steam is interesting, and it makes you consider a lot of things. Yeah, that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have an awesome day, DTube, and the Steem blockchain. Bye bye.